So that means when we build technology, what is good, what we need to be aware, and that is one of another aspect of humanization, is we need to be aware to not create this gap. Because when we bring everything on a technology level, what is happening with the 2.6 billion people who doesn't have access? To see technology as our partner in life, that creates more space in our daily life, that is created to support us to grow as a humanity, to grow our consciousness as a humanity. Welcome to the Alchemy of Success podcast.
Your podcast for personal, corporate, and consciousness expansion. I'm Pedro.
I'm Anna, and today we're going to talk about one topic that is humanization of technology. And the reason why we talk about that is because there was like 10 days events in Dubai, everything around Web3 technology, AI, blockchain, and I've got invited to talk about the topic of humanization of technology. And that's why we just found that it could be very interesting to deep dive, and from one side, me to share what I learned also in the preparation for this panel talk that I participate, but also to give you more of idea where technology is developing, and on the other hand, to invite you, depending on what is your level of engagement already with technology in your daily life, to be more explorative, to take it and to be more playful, instead of seeing the technology development as something that can be a little scary, or maybe can be a reason to be left behind. Because I personally see it as an excitement. And on the other side, when I see the speed in which technology is developing, it's very important that the human aspect become the center around the development of this technology in every area. Pedro, what is your experience currently with the development of technology from your perspective?
Depending on the use or the intention for the technology, I think it's a great thing. My personal experience is, as we're going through the podcast or just doing my own videos, it's absolutely amazing. It makes my job a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and it's just able to produce at a higher level anything that I have to execute. So I personally love it a lot. But yeah, it depends on the use for it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of it.
Absolutely. So we actually are recording the podcast in an environment where after that an AI is creating like reels out of this, is creating the subtitles, is creating a lot of information, and also enhancing the audio quality and so on. And in order to give it to you, and it gives us a lot of more space to be able to create the podcast next to our daily activities in all other areas. I believe if this, for example, environment wasn't available, we will need way more time, and maybe we're gonna rethink whether we have the capacity to do it in this space, every other week. And maybe in some time we can just decide to increase it, So, but we want to talk more about the humanization of technology, okay? Because we see how technology is evolving, and I can tell you, after I participate on some events and had some conversation with really experts in this area, and they showed me some of the products they're working on, or some of the technology they're engaging. And even if I have a technical background coming from computer science and IT, I was like sitting there and was thinking, oh my God, it's accelerating on a pace that I couldn't even imagine. And let me be honest, maybe like 1.5 years ago, nobody, or just the people in the bubble of this area, heard about blockchain. And of course, maybe the most of you has heard about like Bitcoin and so on, but not really understanding the background of the technology. But since ChatGPT entered the room, and like all these other apps who create like images like within a second in every aspect, I love, for example, DALL-E,
Mm.
that is where suddenly technology start being very present in our daily lives. And even now when I open social media, I need to be very, very aware when I look at the video whether this video is real or not. So one of the area where it's important when we talk about humanization of technology, where we need to be aware, is that we need to have now a proper education. What is the capacity of the technology? What is possible with technology? And also to educate every layer of our society. What are the kind of the shadows of it, or the possibility how technology can be used, kind of say in not so good way, when we talk about deep fake. I don't
Hmm.
know, Pedro, ever heard
Yes,
about
yes,
the
absolutely.
what do you understand under the deep fake?
Deepfake is basically the animation or the fabrication of anybody's voice, image that leads them to do anything that they choose to do with somebody else's image. Like literally just speak certain words or just have them do something in the video, but it's not really the person itself.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. I saw videos of politicians, of stars saying, bringing a certain message, and they never have said this. It just the IE has taken their image, has taken their voice frequency and created just almost one to one. It's almost impossible to see a difference, even if you put it next to each other. So that's why one of the point about humanization of technology is the understanding that technology is very powerful, and that's why we need to start educating from early age this kind of way awareness to make our own due diligence when we hear something, when we see something. That is kind of the shadow side. But of course, there is also the beautiful side, because imagine I actually maybe want to produce more videos, but I don't have the capacity. So I can actually script what I want to say, and I can put it into the AI, and the AI can create with my voice frequency, with my wording, the message that I want to bring out. So that means there is also the beautiful side of the same tool, how I can create more content, how I can educate and reach out more people, even if I don't have the capacity to sit and record hours after hours of content. So that means um, every development had like a coin, both sides. So it is important to not see only the one side, but also to see the other side, and to start exploring what are the beauty also of it.
And what is the beauty in your perspective, Anna? What's one of the things that you heard in that summit that you went to that really stood out to you, like just touched you?
You know what is so the beauty is when we manage to see technology as our partner in life. So to be a partner that creates more space in our daily life, that is created to support us to grow as a humanity, to grow our consciousness as a humanity, to free us up from maybe daily activity that we don't really want to do, but feel like forced that we need to do it, or is kind of obligation to do it. So because when you free from my perspective, when I have more time, when I free myself more, then I can focus more on my creative part. I can focus more on something that is more purpose driven, that brings me more excitement, instead of like exchanging time against money in every aspect. And like the example here with the podcast, it's just one example. But when you look also from industrial era, we have started to engaging machines, the wash machine or the production and so on. So that means you don't need so much people to wash per hand or to clean the floor like, hours after hours. We have now the cleaning robot. It's amazing. So that means I have more time and space to share with my friends, with my child. So if we see technology more and more as a partner in crime, as a tool that gives us more time, because look, when we just take the time 3 years ago, oh yeah, 2020, where suddenly everything like stop and pause, and we stay more at home, and we kind of had more time to contemplate, to spend more time with our family, to spend more time with ourselves, to see, okay, what is more valuable for us. A lot of people that I encountered told me that was so beautiful that I had more time for myself. I didn't spend 2 or 3 hours sitting in the car every day in a traffic jam, because I was suddenly able to work from at home. Not everybody, of course, and I understand that not everybody is possible. But I think technology has also the capacity to change this also. And when we start developing technology to be of service of humanity, to increase the level of education through in humanity. Or I give you an example. I was talking to a young entrepreneur who is working in Africa, in one African country, and currently building a metaverse where every single farm producer, even the smallest farm producer, they can put on the platform in a very easy, accessible way, not IT complicated. So that means usability is very important, of course, and that's something to be put at front of the technology development company, to put his products on a platform where you sitting in USA, me sitting in Dubai, I can get an access, I can get the information about how the products are grown, what is the sustainability, what is the quality. So everything to be kind of transparent, because blockchains allow us transparency. So that means I can sit here and I can see what this person in Africa is producing, and I can purchase it. So I get a direct access without the middleman. And I can go there and just search and say, okay, these are my criteria for products I'm looking for. And I can get a list of all the producer of like sustainable, organic, whatever. Take it as an example. How beautiful is that?
That's great. That's great. Increases the visibility and the access to a lot of
And
things.
exactly, and the transparency, the transparency about the production, about the quality, about everything. And they get also access direct to a wider market. So that means the price cannot be anymore just dictated by the local like middleman, but they get more access to a global market where they can decide whether they wanted to sell it at this price or not. And this increase also the revenue they are creating. This increase also like not only the revenue for the farmer, not only the revenue for the community, the value, but also for the whole country.
See, that's what you would call an enhancer.
Exactly, exactly. But that's one aspect. Pedro, you and I, we're in the area of, how to say, education, kind of the way. Let me put it under this umbrella.
Sure, sure.
So, but when I was researching, I found out that 2.6 billion people now doesn't have access to internet. So that means when we build technology, what is good, what we need to be aware, and that is one of another aspect of humanization, is we need to be aware to not create this gap, because when we bring everything on a technology level, what is happening with the 2.6 billion people who doesn't have access? So that means we need to bring the awareness also that access to internet, access to a smartphone or to laptop, whatever that gives you an access to all this technology, has to be something that everybody, like as a part of the democracy, as a part of the humanity, need to become.
I wanted to ask you that. You're bringing up an excellent point. You, as you're talking, Anna, you're making me think about the culture. So there's 2.6 billion people. How many of them are culturally driven not to enhance their technology because they'll lose a part of their culture that already exists? Because if you think
Mm,
about what technology has done in the social media landscape, it has a lot of benefits, 100%. It also has a lot of challenges, which is why a lot of
absolutely.
parents, you know what I mean? I mean, I've never seen such a high rate of anxiety amongst kids ever. It's insane. It's over 60% of the kids have anxiety. Compare that to 20 years ago, it's almost nothing compared to what it is today. So I agree with you 100%, but I'm wondering if the 2.6 billion, if we see this beautiful idea of trying to help them expand their awareness of what's going on, but maybe they also might be losing a little bit of their culture, what makes them unique, what makes them connect as a civilization within whatever they are. So I'm wondering, has that been brought up before, or has that been discussed?
So that is a very valid and kind of a exactly contradictive point. And it's not just with children, let me be honest.
Mm.
I- That's why one of the questions that I placed at the panel discussion is does technology serve us or do we serve technology? So that is also a part of the education to understand also the influence of technology on the human brain development, on the community building. So we need to be educated how technology can serve us, and we should be educated to stop serving technology or to be the servant of the technology. And I think that is something that is coming more and more. And that is something that you also with your work with the children, I believe you are emphasizing and putting out there. And I see it also in the school of my son. They're talking about the media influence and the influence of technology on the development of children and the interaction and like the social dynamic, because the social dynamic is changing through technology, because I grew up on the street. I would come from the school back and I was like on the streets playing with all my neighbor friends till late, till my grandma called me come back home, and I even didn't want it to know. And now you cannot get the children in the area where technology is developed out of their home. So
That's
that's why
correct.
it's important by rising, because we cannot stop the technology development. No way. That's why it's so important to humanize the technology, to have this open conversation about the shadow of the technology development, to put it on the table of every area, on the level of governments, of the level of education, on the level of parentinghood, on the level on the society. So we need to bring all these different people on the table in the discussion, to talk about that. That's why it was for me so important to go and talk about the humanization of technology, as everybody was talking about the technology development. How beautiful is to have memes and how you can influence different directions. Even we went into politics and so on. But the emotional intelligence is the first layer we need to implement when we develop technology.
So give us an example of that, Anna. What do you mean by emotional intelligence in regards to this subject, so the viewers understand?
So we as a human, we're emotional driven being, right? So of course we think, we have our thoughts, but actually how we make decision is based on our emotional intelligence. In schools, we are taught more about the IQ. So it's like, okay, that's an information, take it, learn it, give it. But actually, the nature of us is emotional based. We make decisions based on emotion. When I'm afraid of something, let me take technology. Let me say I'm afraid of technology will take over my job because maybe that what I'm doing is very good, easy to be like replaced by the technology development. So if I tap into my fear and I start seeing this with fear, what will happen is that I will block myself from the excitement and the exploration of how technology can help me maybe to move in another direction, or how can I rethink the way how I see the way I can bring the work outside, the value that I have, the talents, the expertise, and so on. So when I'm aware that I'm an emotional being and I'm able to examine this, then I can decide whether I go from in the fear-based exploration or more the excitement.
Got it. So basically, make sure that you understand yourself so you don't block your ability to enhance or grow your knowledge, your experience, and obviously maybe your feasibility, what you can do within your life by embracing technology, at least its good aspects. So just be self aware. I think that's what you mean, right? In
That
regards to
is
the
the
fear.
one aspect, but of course another aspect is we need to be aware that technology can influence our emotions.
That's right.
So that's why it's important to create a rules, kind of play rules, laws where are flexible. What I heard from one of the person is the laws should be as flexible as a jogging trousers. It's like a bag. So they shouldn't be like tight as like a skinny jeans, where you
Ow.
cannot where you cannot move from because of the
Yeah.
laws. You cannot move and expand the technology. So they should be like comfortable, like a jogger, but yet to have a defined rules.
Mhm.
Because of course, and when we go back again to the deep fake, imagine creating a video that takes some conflict area, and with this technology you can create something to even enhance, to accelerate the conflict there. And that doesn't need to be true. I saw some videos here around in Dubai. We had like a huge, really, it was extreme, the storm that we had. And yet there was some videos that kind of shows that something is happening in Dubai that didn't happen, but that brings the emotional engagement. It's not always serving. So that's why it's important to have also rules around this. And one of the topic I was talking with an expert from Europe is how important is to create the so-called digital international identity. Can you
Explain that.
understand something behind that?
Ex,
But tell me
ex,
first, what do you understand about that?
okay.
Tell me first, what do you understand about that?
So
And I also invite the people who are listening to us, contemplate in your mind when you hear digital international identity. What do you understand behind this?
based on the words itself, based on my limited knowledge of the space in its entirety, I think it means I have the ability to go to any country, or the any country has access to understand who Pedro is and has his records. So there's easier ways of traveling, easier way of identifying myself, in case I do something good or something bad in any other country, but they have the ability to understand who I am immediately because it's flowing through the realms of technology. It's not held in one passport or one firm piece of paper. It's actually just digitizes. It's everywhere. Is that what it is?
That is very interesting perspective because
That's what I got.
immediately I observe a
uh
bias
huh.
connected to the technology
Uh huh.
that I also was thinking in this direction, but after having the conversation, what is actually about, it's completely the opposite, kind of the opposite, because in that what you have expressed is more about putting you a transparent, to be a transparent,
Correct.
so like citizen of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the digital international identity has actually an opposite effect. It's about giving the person the possibility to say, yes, that's me, and this one in the video is not me. What do I mean by this? It's
Oh,
creating
I think I know. Go ahead. Sorry.
it's creating an identity on the blockchain, so that means it's encrypted. Only you have access to the full data, beside, of course, like police and so on, like a very limited people. You have only access to the data, but because it's stored on the blockchain, and as I said before, without going deep into the technology of the blockchain, who want to do it, I can invite you to go and like do a research as how blockchain is. But when you put this information on a blockchain, it's by design transparent. By design, it's secure, encrypted, and you are in the ownership of your identity, and you can decide how much of this identity you want to give, share for the people who you are interacting. But what gives you this identity gives you the opportunity to say, yes, that's me, Anna. For example, I say that's me, Anna Esen. My mom and dad, if I want to know, maybe they need to be the one to identify, yeah, that's really my daughter, So that means the blockchain or can confirm that with this with this signal, to say with this note, that's Anna Esen. And the video that you see here posted on the website, it's not me. It's a deep fake. So it gives me the power to, by the developing of this technology, yet to be so unique, identified by my kind of like uniqueness, like every Bitcoin is unique by itself. There is no another Bitcoin than this one, So that means there is no another Anna Esen than this one, and this will be the base of everything when I create content or where I move around, where I can assure that's really me and nobody else can steal my identity. And based on this identity, then you can put, the nationality and whatever. But in the core, we are human, and we have our very unique features, parameters like the biometrical, what includes different, points of reference. But you decide how much information you share. So it's not the transparency in the way that everybody can see who, everything around you, but it's more about it gives back the power to the person itself to be identified as this unique person, Ana Esen or Pedro Mejia.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then, just to make sure I understand this, and maybe the
Okay, go
viewers
ahead.
as well. Okay, so you're describing a technology blockchain based. Obviously, that's how it's encrypted and it's protected. Are you saying
It's a project that is now ongoing, so it's not implemented. So you need to, of course, get all the governments and so on board with this. So
Got it. That was going to be one of my questions. Okay, so
Mm.
that one's answered. So the other question.
Mind connection.
So if it's in the process, obviously, and it's going to be have to be approved by the government, because the government has to stipulate that all these companies that use technology that has recordings of you, like social media company like Meta, X, Twitter, or actually
Whatever. Yeah.
XS, whatever,
X, yeah,
all
whatever.
these other
All this
companies,
social.
all
Mm-hmm.
these also. So you're saying the government has to sign off and make sure that these companies use this platform, these base technology, this blockchain, to go ahead and facilitate all this content, all this media everywhere, because it has to go back to the individual user that I have to approve, meaning they have to basically use that blockchain. They have to force them to use that blockchain.
So let me say, in the deepness of the technology, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot explain it to you,
Okay.
as I'm actually meeting the people who started this project the next week. But as a part of this initiative, it's about also creating a standardization of like interfaces where everybody can access this information to the level that is, of course, you allowed to access. Um, and it's like, look, currently you have your passport, right? When you travel, all the governments, when you travel, they need to get an access through your passport to your information, so to see when you enter this country, so there is already kind of standardized way of exchanging information. But for example, when I get a voice message from you or video and so on, now with the development of technology, I cannot be sure that it's really coming from you. If I post this video now on YouTube and I use the app to create more content with your voice, with your, personality and so on, currently now as a user, as an observer, I don't have any possibility really to distinguish whether you really say this or not. You also kind of cannot really prove it easily. They're of course thinking of like a building kind of security mechanism where AI check whether it's AI created, and like the AI checked itself makes no sense. you know, in my eyes, make no sense. So the technology that creates something is the technology that checks, validate itself. Not really. So that's why one of the conversation that was on this on this event, for example, was how to integrate Web3 technology, blockchain with AI, because currently AI is a black box. So that means when you and I go in ChatGPT or any other AI tool, you don't know what is the bias, what is the code behind, what is the bias behind. And I experienced it when I asked ChatGPT some biological question around feminine and about men and woman
Mm-hmm.
indifference. What we learn in the school actually told me that is against my terms and condition. I cannot give you the information. And I'm like, that's just a normal biology talking about, sexual, about sexual organs, but it wasn't any inappropriate way. So that means for us now, AI is a black box. So you don't know the information that you get, what is behind. By integrating with blockchain, where it's transparent, where you can see on what kind of bias of creating, you can understand why you get this outcome, and you can decide whether you like it or not, whether you take it or not. So when you have your digital identity, or when this is like the basic of the understand, oh, is it AI created, or is it really the Anna Eisen who did it?
Yeah, I understand that part. It definitely. It's just I'm getting stuck to really see the vision of how to execute it properly, because from my perspective, I'm building the company. I'm trying to do a
Mm.
technology that will serve everybody and diminish the fear of what you're actually producing, that it's actually you. Okay. I would go to the user. I wouldn't even bother with the government at all. I just build a software. I'm letting the user go, hey, this software will allow you to create a personal identity that could be tracked anywhere where you plug in. And then every other company, if they want you to create a profile in their company, they would have to allow that code to be embedded into whatever the adoption is. I would force it that way.
Yeah, they are also not going directly to it's the conversation with governments is more
Mm,
about to see the value out of this and to get the support. It's less about to get the allowance from the governments.
mm,
You know,
okay.
it's like it's two-way. You know, that was one of the very interesting aspect.
Thanks for watching. Click on one of the videos below and don't forget to like and subscribe.